Hey guys, this is DFS Chan. Today is October 12th, day 2 of the League of Legends Worlds Tournament. I'll be talking about day 2 slate, where there are 8 games total. Again, it's a huge slate. Like I said yesterday, that really anything can happen in any given game. Really, I mean, we can predict so much based on the data, but as you saw in the T1 versus DFM matchup yesterday, that game just blew up out of proportion. I mean, both T1 and DFM are notoriously known for playing slow and have low combined kills per minute metric. But I think it was just such a lopsided match where T1 was dominant. I mean, they were like several thousands of gold ahead of DFM at the 10-minute mark, and then obviously at 15-minute mark, and they just snowballed it from there. And DFM just threw bodies at them, and they had already given up. I mean, at like a 10-minute mark. So, at that point they were just having fun, and everybody was just having a good time, even if they were losing for DFM. So anyway, so that's just one example of how one game can really ruin the slate, or if you get it right, can have some leverage in terms of like ownership. Obviously, T1 and DFM were under owned. DFM obviously it didn't do anything, but T1 was under owned because of their historic low kills in the LCK summer split and spring split this year. But so it is what it is, and so any team is viable. But just given that, I will be going through each of these matchups for today. So let's do that right now. All right, the first game of the day is T1 versus EDG. And as you can see, I will go through each game chronologically based on the schedule. But here are my predictions and the cheat sheet and my notes. These are based on the kill upside, what I think, will happen, in these games. So as you can see, T1 versus EDG, I have graded it as a moderate kill upside, just based on my eye test, but also based on the, actual numbers from their respective regions and summer splits and everything. Yeah, so as you can see, I said EDG had a good mid to late game in their first game, and they had great jungle control percentage, and T1 also had great jungle control percentage against DFM. So they're both obviously really good teams, and these are the two teams that I picked to come out of their respective group. As you see that here, T1 played a bit faster first game against DFM, as I mentioned earlier, as an example. But just thinking about the matchup, I know that T1 has been starting Gumayushi in the AD carry position instead of Teddy. So for those of you who are playing T1 players, make sure you're aware of that. There's the substitution risk at the AD carry position, but also in other positions as well. But most likely Gumayushi will still start because they look really good together for the team yesterday against DFM. So I'm sure Gumayushi is going to start, but there is a little bit of risk there. But yeah, but just thinking it through, I mean, I think Gumayushi he's more of an aggressive AD carry compared to Teddy. So I like Gumayushi for this meta. But EDG has Viper, and EDG's jungler JJ, which I wasn't really too high on until yesterday. I mean, yesterday he looked great. I mean, they dominated against, I think it was against Hundred Thieves. I mean, they look really, really good. So I was very impressed with them. And I mean, I just feel like, just given that, I think he's going to neutralize Owner for T1, who also had a really good game on Talon. So I think that's going to be neutralized. And then Viper for EDG at AD carry is going to neutralize Gumayushi there. So and then I think both teams, or either team, is gonna ban Yumi as the first champion to ban, I think, because that champion was overused yesterday and won so many teams of the games respectively. So but just given all of that, I feel like I still think EDG has a bit more talent. I think Scout's gonna do well against Faker. I mean, Faker is Faker. I mean, he sees the game well still. He's very knowledgeable, but I think Scout is really good. And in the top lane is what I have a lot of uncertainties, where Flandre goes up against Kana. Flandre used to be good. I mean, I think he's like a little tier below Kana in my opinion, but Kana can also be volatile. So I think Flandre can take advantage of that based on his experience. So I still like EDG, but like I said, T1 is a live dog, and the kill upside for this entire matchup, T1 versus EDG, is moderate. So I just put that in the middle. So I'll definitely have a piece of maybe T1 or EDG depending on which route I go. The second matchup of the day is Rogue versus Damwon Kia. So let's see where that one is. I have that up here. Yeah, I always get these acronyms confused. DK for DraftKings and then Damwon Kia. I used to call it DWG, Damwon Gaming, but anyway. Damwon Kia is a huge favorite at, as you can see, minus 525 last time I checked on Bovada. And I have notes for Rogue. They had a good mid to late game. They dismantled as a C9, yep, Cloud9 and Group A. It was Europe versus North America. And Rogue really dominated Cloud9. So, and I kind of expected that. And then Damwon Kia was flawless. They beat Oneplus Phoenix in what some people projected it to be the championship match. Really, two best teams, Damwon Kia and FPX, going up against each other in the first game of the world's group stage. But I mean, it wasn't even close, and Damwon Kia looked really, really good. So just based on that, and also, I mean, just based on the talent gap, I do think Damwon Kia is going to win easily. But then for spots like this, it could be a letdown spot, but I just feel like at this point they look really good. They look solid in every single lane, and their team fights and everything, and their team communication, especially in the first 10 minutes. So I like Damwon Kia, and then I think Khan's gonna do well in the top lane. I think that's a mismatch in favor of Damwon Kia. So I think that's gonna be a huge problem for Rogue, I think, against Odo Omne. I think Odo Omne did not play well today. Let me check real quick. I know they just won, but yeah, let's see. They didn't update the stats here, but let's see how he did. He went 2-2-4. I mean, that's not that great for what they have done, for what the final score was. Yeah, I mean, they had 14 kills at this point, and he only has participated in 6 kills. So anyway, so I mean, in a win like that, he should have dominated even more. I just feel like that's a mismatch, and Khan played amazing. So I think DK still wins. I thought about maybe projecting Rogue as a live dog, that could be playable, but I just feel like that one Kia is, almost a sure thing to win here, I think, just based on, what they showed yesterday. And the kill upside for this matchup, I have it graded as moderate to high. Let's move on to the next matchups. PSG versus HLE. That's gonna be a very interesting matchup in my opinion. PSG from Taiwan and HLE from Korea. I have that actually graded pretty high. So as you can see, PSG plays pretty fast. And HLE has been playing faster in the Worlds tournament so far, especially starting from the play-in stage. So I said PSG had a really bad early game in their first game, and HLE played fast the first game. PSG is definitely a live dog. They controlled 54% of their jungle against RNG, but they still lost to RNG because RNG had a better macro game and they had a better laning phase, I think. So I think positive regression is due, just given the fact that PSG still dominated the jungle against a good team like RNG. So I do think PSG definitely has a shot to win here. I think HLE has been playing really well. So I have them, predicted as the winning team, but I think PSG is definitely a live dog. I'll definitely have a lot of PSGs and GPPs. But for cash, I mean, I think HLE is maybe playable. Maybe I'll avoid it because I think it's more of like a 55 to 45 in favor of HLE. So I think I give PSG a good shot to win against HLE. Just based on, I mean, like I said, their jungle control percentage in a loss was really good, 54%. So I really like that metric as a potential upset metric indicator. So I like PSG here as a live dog. And like I said, the kill upside is really high. So that bodes really well for PSG, as a GPP play. And HLE, I mean, if they still win, I mean, they're gonna score well as well against PSG, who likes to play fast. So I love this matchup and have exposure to both teams. Next matchup of the day is Fnatic versus RNG. As you guys know, Fnatic does not have their main AD carry. They have Bean, who is the main AD carry for their minor league team, Fnatic Rising. So, that's going to be a mismatch down below in the bottom lane. RNG has a really good AD carry and Gala and Ming. So RNG definitely has advantage there. And RNG, even though they did not have good jungle control percentage against PSG, which I mentioned, where is RNG right here? Let's see. Yep, right here. So the next, I mean, like these two matchups that I'm just talking about, the PSG versus HLE and then the Fnatic versus RNG. I mean, these are really high octane games. I think that you want to get a piece of, at least from one of these two games. They're both projected really high. And anytime Fnatic is on the slate, like I said, whoever their opponent is, they get a huge upgrade to their kill upside, which would be RNG in this case on the slate. And then if Fnatic wins, I mean, somehow, I think, having played one game together for that new AD carry, maybe, they will play much better. And like I said, RNG did not have a good jungle control percentage. So it could be a potential letdown spot as long as Fnatic's jungler, Bwipo, plays well. I know there's a lot of like turmoil going on amongst the teammates and at Fnatic and everything, according to rumors. But if you're not buying into that, whether that's going to have much effect on their gameplay, I do like Fnatic as a potential live dog. Like I said, RNG's lack of jungle control percentage in the first game, even though they won, it's a little scary metric for them. So like I said, I have RNG winning. I don't think that they should be this high of a favorite, but I feel like a lot of people are now. The fact that Fnatic lost against HLE and then they don't have a main AD carry, I think those are obviously all good factors that you should use them against. But I think just the fact that, like I said, RNG did not control the good jungle control percentage, and then everybody now is probably gonna be off of Fnatic. More people are gonna be off of Fnatic, so I think this definitely gonna cause lower ownership for us. So I think if Fnatic makes a good GPP play, and like I said, the kill upside is really high too. So I mean, one or two team fights goes wrong for RNG, and then Fnatic gains advantage and snowballs from there. I mean, they could potentially score 20 to 25 kills. So I like Fnatic as a live dog. So like I said, these two games that I'm talking about, I like their kill upside here. Next matchup of the day is Cloud9 versus Oneplus Phoenix. Yeah, I mean, Funplus Phoenix, they had a bad game against Damwon Kia, but they're still one of the best teams in the world. I think they're gonna bounce back. I know they had a really bad early game against Damwon, but I think it was like a one or two huge mistakes, which they're probably not gonna repeat against, especially teams like Cloud9. And Cloud9 had a really bad jungle control percentage compared to versus Rogue, which I wasn't hugely impressed about, Rogue's jungler. So Blabber, the fact that Blabber struggled against Rogue's jungler inspired, I think it is. I'm not entirely confident that C9 can pull it off, but yeah. So ultimately, my prediction for this matchup, I have FPX winning, but just based on the fact that FPX has had a really bad game against Damwon Kia, and that sometimes could like derail your team morale as to what they feel like their chances are at winning the worlds. So I mean, if they dug themselves too deep of a hole, I mean, I do think C9 has a chance to catch them off guard here. So I said, don't roll out Cloud9 for a deep shot, but for DFS purposes, I think it's either FPX or nobody else in this matchup. I don't think I'm gonna play any Cloud9. I know Funplus Phoenix tends to play fast and Cloud9 tends to play slower. Um, and there's a chance that Funplus Phoenix can also just blow up in kills because they're so mad that they lost to Damwon Kia in the fashion that they did yesterday. So they might just come out firing and get like 20, 25 kills against C9. But I don't see that happening because this is the world. It's not like they're playing against, Beyond Gaming or some really bad teams. I think Cloud9 is more than competent to kind of fare with FPX in a game. So I do think it's not gonna blow up like how it turned out between T1 and DFM earlier today. And DFM I think is probably now the worst team in the group stage so far. So yeah, anyway, long story short, I do think FPX wins, but Cloud9 could make an interesting deep GPP play, or if anybody is betting, I think C9 can make an interesting betting prop there. So, and then for kill upside, like I said, I think it's moderate, but it can blow up. I think just based on the fact that FPX is pissed off, and then FPX tends to play fast, but C9 tends to play slower side. So I have that, kind of even out, as a moderate kill upside for that matchup. But I don't think I'm gonna play any C9 for GPP. Maybe it'll bite me in the ass. We'll see. All right. But like I said, that's a good spot to take a break and talk about. If you are playing League of Legends DFS, especially on an 8-game slate like this, you have to take a strong stance on some teams. I mean, there are gonna be so many variations that you're gonna be upset that you didn't play or are playing, and you put in so much money that obviously 2 or 3 will hit, but then the rest of them will not hit. So, I mean, there will have to be at least 2 or 3 stances that you'll have to make on these teams on any slate, on really any given slate. So, and today I think that's what I'm gonna do with C9. I'm not gonna play them for any GPP. So, I just feel like Funplus Phoenix has to win this game after losing against Damwon Kia. I think they're going to have to take care of business against inferior teams like Cloud9. So I think a lot of factors, favor FPX to win, kill upside. I just feel like, they're not going to be like T1 today, where they just stomped DFM. I don't think FPX will stomp C9. They might, so we'll see. DFM versus Hundred Thieves is the next matchup. Scheduled at noon on for Eastern time. Like I said, DFM didn't look that great against T1. Maybe they're the worst team in the worlds left in the group stage. Hundred Thieves look decent. I mean, they lost to EDG, and they had the worst. What did I say? They had the worst jungle control percentage actually against EDG. What's his name? Closer. I think their jungler for 100 Thieves did not perform well today. And but then DFM played terribly as well against T1. So really, I mean, I feel like these are the two of the worst teams, just based on the statistics in the tournament. And I have Hundred Thieves winning, but DFM is a live dog. But the kill upside for this matchup, I have it as, I have it graded as very low, just based on the regular season and playoffs and everything. And DFM played pretty slow in the play-in stage at the Worlds, before they qualified for the group stage. And then Hundred Thieves is, I think they are known to have lower combined kills per minute. As I'll share my screen here. As you can see here, I mean, LCS championship, they had 0.69. Summer, they had 0.76 at MSI. So, I mean, these are not that great. So I just feel like they're not as fast as some other teams that are on the slate. So I have that kill upside for that matchup, Hundred Thieves matchup, low. And then Mad versus Gen G. This is an interesting matchup because Gen G showed out very well in their first game, beating LNG, I think it was, and then Mad Lions beat or lost to Team Liquid between a EU versus North America matchup. So yeah, let's dive into the Gen G versus Mad. Where do I have that here? If you kill upside, I have it as low to moderate. Gen G, I think they won with like 8 kills today, 6 or 8 kills, if I remember correctly. It was definitely a single-digit kills against LNG. LNG had 1 kill, I think it was. So it was very low, very slow. They took care of business from the macro game standpoint, which a lot of LCK teams tend to do, or have been doing over the years. But this meta does not favor them, and I think it only worked because LNG also play similarly. They like to play slow and macro game standpoint. So I think, both teams like to play that style, but Gen G had a better laning phase where I think BDD in the mid lane got 2 solo kills against Icon. And I know Icon, has not had a good tournament so far, as especially in the play-in stage, as well now as well. Excuse me. As well as in the group stage game yesterday. So I think that's why Gen G won. Now Gen G versus Mad, that's an interesting matchup because Mad Lions plays fast and they have a high combined kills per minute and they like to make plays. So I think Mad is gonna force a lot of Gen G's hands here in this matchup. I think there will be maybe 2 or 3 spots before the 15-minute mark where Mad Lions will try to make some plays against Gen G. I think Gen G will be forced to make plays like that too, as a counter, but LNG is not the type of team that forced Gen G's hands like that yesterday. So I still like ultimately Gen G to win, but I think Mad Lions is a live underdog. But for kill upside, I think if you think Mad wins, I think it's more of a moderate kill upside. But if you think Gen G wins, I think they'll take care of the jungle. They'll take care of the pace. They'll control the pace of the game. If you think Gen G wins, which I do think, so I think it's going to be a lower to moderate kill upside. So I'm not hugely thrilled about it for DFS purposes, but it is what it is. And then the last matchup of the day is TL versus LNG. I have that game as graded as really low. TL plays slow, LNG plays slow. LNG had 1 kill against Gen G, but I do have LNG winning here against TL. TL, even though they had a good mid to late game, I just feel like LNG is gonna dominate early game and then snowball from there. Ale for LNG in the top lane is an interesting choice for like a one-off. Even though this whole matchup, I have it as I have it graded as low kill upside. Because Ale, they put a lot of resources into Ale's hands for him to carry. And it could be the case here again. So we'll see what happens there. So anyways, that's what I got for you guys today. But yeah, so I'll try to upload a video a little earlier tomorrow. But yeah, so if you guys have any questions, please leave me a comment. And then you can also reach out to me at DFS Chan on Twitter. If you like the video, please hit the like button or hit the subscribe button. It helps a lot. So I appreciate it and hope you guys have a good day, and let's make some money on these League of Legends DFS slates. Thanks. Bye-bye.